So we have these bars. I think most of you had some lessons in school or wherever that we have these bars. And inside the bars, we have these countings. And in our case, in most cases, it's being counted 1, 2, 3, 4. And if that is not enough, we have still subdivisions. And the first subdivision is the plus or end. You can have it still smaller and smaller, but for quite much music, this is enough. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then it starts again. It's not 1001, 1002, 1003. So in music, it would be very impractical if the conductor had to tell the orchestra, please play sound number 3510. Nobody will know. So he just says, okay, please play bar 5 and on count 3. Then everybody knows. So it's an easier way to understand that huge amount of time. So we have the measurement of time in the beating pulse. And as we heard before, I can't remember in which lecture, that time is being in this graphic. This is quite regular. But if we experience time, also in music, we will find that this is not exactly. And there are even computer programs. When you compose music at the computer, then it's so regular that it sounds sterile, then you can tell the computer, please make it incorrect. And I want to have it incorrect by 7%. And then the computer shifts a little bit, moves it a little bit earlier, a little bit later. You can say, okay, I want to have it in the style of a blues musician who plays laid back. Then everything is a little bit shifted behind. Or I want to have it with driving force. Then everything moves a little bit forward. So even though for the counting reason, it's very regular, but as a living musician, it's always changing. You become a little bit faster, you become a little bit slower, so the music becomes alive. The bars are just grouping the beats. The beat is a counting, and this gives us the possibility. By this measurement, I can not only say when, at what point in time, some musical event should happen. So if I say, please clap your hands on that point, and say 1 and 2 and 3, then everyone knows when to clap. But I can also say how long that sound should be. With clapping, it's a bit difficult. But with singing or organ or any instrument which can play long notes, you can also say the sound should last for that much. And you all have seen these quarter notes, half notes, and so on. So as a footnote, I put prolonged and condensed rhythm, meaning that our ability to feel or to understand rhythm is very limited. If the rhythm becomes very fast, then it comes to the point where it turns into sound. If I clap in that tempo, it's very easy to understand. But if I were able to clap more than 60 times a second, then we wouldn't be able to hear it as single claps, but it would turn into a low sound. And the more clapping it would be, some 100 clappings a second, then we would hear pitch. So there's actually no border between rhythm and pitch. It's just our ability to understand and to recognize. The same is very prolonged rhythm. We cannot hear the sound or the rhythm of Jupiter moving around the sun. It's simply too slow. We cannot perceive it. We can calculate and say, okay, it takes so long, and in relation to Mars, if there were two musicians, one is playing like this, the other is playing like this. Maybe one is Mars, one is Jupiter. Then I could understand, but we cannot perceive because it's too slow. So our ability to understand musical rhythm is very limited. We have very slow music, maybe down to 30, and if we have really hard music, then it goes maybe to 180. If you have real disco or techno music to heaten up the people, then it really gets fast. But beyond that, it's really difficult to understand. Yes, please.